So can we start the new module today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will be starting with the new module, national income. Very important. So we're done with demand supply. Everything we have covered. I think we have taken 3 sessions for demand supply. Now today we will start with national income. Okay. So national income. So very important module from both prelims and mains perspective. I'll discuss all concepts related to national income. Like you will see GDP, market price, GDP factor cost, current prices, constant prices, market price, factor cost. All these concepts will be discussed today. Around 16 concepts are there. So we will discuss all these 16 concepts, and you just need to know, 4 basic concepts. With this 4 concepts, the permutation combination, we will see all the 16 concepts. Okay. So let's get started with today's discussion. National income simply means it is actually income of all people, but technically it is net national product at factor cost. I'll tell you what is net national product, what is factor cost, everything. So national income, as the technical definition, we will discuss towards the end once we understood all these concepts: GDP, GNP, NDP, NNP, everything. Okay, so simple terms, national income means it's actually income of all people. So we will start with this. We will start with GDP. Okay, so you can write one definition over there: GDP, gross domestic product. Please write there. It is the money value of all final goods. It is a money value of all final goods and services. So money value of all final goods and services produced in the domestic territory. In the domestic territory of a country during a financial year. Domestic territory of a country during a financial year. Okay, so it is a money value of all final goods and services which is produced in the domestic territory of a country in a financial year. So these are the 3 keywords. First of all, final goods and services, then domestic territory, then financial year. So to explain this definition, what I need to do basically is to explain these 3 keywords. Okay, so let's start with this final goods and services. Now, goods and services are actually divided into 2. Goods and services are basically final, okay, and intermediate. So you will have both final and intermediate. So final goods means what? The final goods that you're directly consuming, right? Intermediate goods means the raw materials. These are the raw materials. Okay, so these are actually not included. Intermediate goods are not included. Only the final goods are included in the calculation of GDP. For example, when I'm talking about this pen, this is a final good. So this will be added in GDP. But the raw materials which is used here will not be added. Why it is not added? Basically to avoid the double counting. If you're adding raw materials, then it will lead to double counting. So to avoid that, you will only add the final goods. So I hope you understood. Now, sometimes same item can be final good as well as intermediate good also. Like sometimes same item can be the raw material as well as the final good. For example, if you take milk, okay, if you are using it in your home, if you're buying that milk in your home and you're making tea out of it and you're consuming that, here what is the final good? What you bought from the shop, that is the milk. Milk is the final good. Okay, but if the same milk is actually bought by a hotel person or a restaurant person and he's making tea over there and he's selling the tea, then what is the final product? Then the final product will be tea. Okay, so the milk can be acted as both final as well as intermediate product. I hope you understood. Similarly, if you talk about a tire, okay, tire. So if you are buying a tire for your car, that is actually final product. What will be added to GDP is the cost of the tire. But if this tire is bought by a car manufacturing company, then that is actually a raw material for the car. And what is added to the GDP? The car will be added to the GDP. That tire will also be included. So what I mean to say is there are 2 types, final as well as intermediate. while we calculate GDP, we will only talk about final goods. Intermediate goods are raw materials that will not be taken into consideration because that lead to double counting. Okay. Now, when we talk of final good, again, there are two types of goods are there. Consumer goods are there, and then capital goods are there. Okay. So what is this consumer and capital goods? Consumer goods are directly, satisfy the wants. You buy it, you consume it, end of it. Milk. Okay. All these directly satisfy the wants. Capital goods are basically used to make further production. These are machines. Okay. Machinery, for example, machinery. Though these goods, capital goods, assist further production. That helps in further production. So consumer good, consume, end of it. Capital goods assist further production. Now, that sometimes you see this consumer good, same good can be consumer good as well as capital good. For example, let's suppose you buy a car. You're buying a car, and if it is for your consumption, what is that? That is actually an example for consumer good. That satisfy your want, right? That satisfy your want. So you consume it and you use it, you go to office and everything. So that's a consumer good. But if you're using this car as a taxi, and then it is actually helping in further production, right? So then it is actually a capital good. So what I mean to say is, we have discussed about goods and services. I'm explaining this point. Goods and services can be final as well as intermediate. Okay, so intermediate, and when we talk about goods GDP, we will only add final. See, this we have discussed about goods, final goods. It can happen in service also. Service also you can have final and intermediate. For example, you go to a hospital. Okay, so what will be the final bill? Like you pay the registration fee, doctor's fee, medicine, everything will be in the final bill. But the other separate bills are actually considered as intermediate bill. So what will be added to GDP? That final product that will be added to GDP. So in service also this final and intermediate will be there, but we take the final one. Okay, so we talked about final goods, intermediate goods, capital goods, and consumer goods. So what will be added to GDP? That is a final goods and services. So I hope that this point is clear. Next is related to domestic territory. Okay, so domestic territory means what? If I am talking about India's GDP, for example, India's GDP. Now, can I say whatever is produced in India alone will be the domestic territory? GDP. So when I'm talking about domestic territory, if it is India's GDP, some books you will see or some teachers will tell that whatever is produced in India, that is part of domestic territory, that is part of GDP. Okay. See, when I'm saying whatever is produced in India, I'm basically talking about the political boundary. I'm talking about political boundary, right? Within this, let's suppose there's a map. Within this, whatever production happened, that will be added to GDP. That's what you're saying. But apart from this, certain other things will also be included. It is not necessarily within India. Whatever is produced in India will be definitely part of GDP. Okay, because this political boundary is part of your domestic territory. But political boundary is not only the domestic territory. There are some more addition here. What are they? Embassies. Okay, so apart from political boundaries, that means whatever is produced in India, it doesn't matter who is producing. It could be some foreign companies, but production is in India. That will be part of domestic territory. So embassies are doing certain services. So like Indian embassy abroad. So can we conclusively say whatever is produced in India only? No, embassies are abroad. So when we are adding the service of embassies abroad, what we need to do, we need to subtract the service of, let's say, some foreign countries' embassies in India. So conclusively, we cannot say whatever is in India also. Okay, so in India, the foreign embassies are there, means we need to subtract that. Similarly, Indian embassies abroad, we will have to add here. So simply, I'm just writing embassies here. Automatically, it should be understood that Indian embassies abroad, you will be adding, like Indian embassies in US, Indian embassies in England, everything will be added, and foreign embassies in India will be excluded in that case. Similarly, not only embassies, consulates. Consulates means what? Consulates are basically cultural centers. You can see Russian consulates, German consulates, etc. So these are cultural exchange, cultural exchange centers. So Indian consulates will be there abroad. That will be added because they are offering certain services. Similarly, foreign consulates here will be excluded. So can I see again, my point is, it is not that everything produced in India. Some books will tell that, some short notes, some notes prepared by some people will tell that. So if you're reading that, you're not actually getting the correct understanding. Even some teachers are also believing the same. Okay, so it's not that whatever is produced in India, some things will be excluded, like foreign embassies will be excluded, foreign consulates will be excluded. Similarly, from abroad also certain things will be added, Indian embassies and Indian consulates. Okay, plus certain other things also there. What about aircraft and ship or military establishment? Military establishment. Military establishment abroad. For example, if we are part of UN peacekeeping force, you know what is UN peacekeeping force, right? India can send army in the UN peacekeeping force. Okay, so as a member of UN, so India also send our army in UN peacekeeping force, and that peacekeeping force may be working in, let's say this Sudan, okay, etc. Some these places, these Indian peacekeeping forces there. So they are actually offering some service that will be added to GDP. So military establishments abroad will be added to GDP. So Indian Army, which is going as part of any mission, they're actually offering service, so that will be added to GDP. Okay, so not necessarily political boundary. Some more addition is there along with political boundary. Plus, what else will come? Plus, what about aircraft and ship? Ship and aircraft. Ship and aircraft. It is ship. Do you think it is in this domestic territory, or aircraft all the time? It is not in the domestic territory. So basically, in case of ship and aircraft, it is the owner. Who is the owner? If the ship and aircraft is owned by Indian, for example, Air India, it doesn't matter Air India is making service from England to US. It doesn't matter. If it is owned by Indians, that will be added to India's GDP in case of aircraft and ship. If it is from US to India or India to US, you don't mind about the destination and source area. Okay, if it is owned by Indian, then whatever service aircraft is making, that will be added to Indian GDP. Same as the case with ship also. So you can write there, ship and aircraft owned by the residents of the country. In case of India's GDP, owned by Indians. If it is Qatar Airways, it will be added to Qatar. So that's about the domestic territory. So I hope you understood about these two. This is related to the final goods we have done. So this is something we have done. This also we have done. Now, financial year, all of you know, right? What is the financial year? When we talk of financial year, we are talking from 1st April to 31st of March. And this will be divided into 4 quarters. So Q1, you will see GDP, when we talk about it, will be measured over a period of year. So there's a financial year, and quarterly GDP is also measured. So what are the quarters? 3 months gap, right? So you will divide 1 year into 4. So 3 months each. So Q1, 1st April to 30th of June. That is Q1. Q2, the 1st of July, 1st July to 30th September, that is Q2. What about Q3? That is October 1 to December 31st. And what about Q4? That is Jan 1st to March 31st. So I hope this is clear. We talked about what is final goods and services. We talked about domestic territory, and we also talk about the financial year. So that's about GDP. So GDP is actually the money value of all final goods and services produced in the domestic territory in a financial year. Okay, next concept is GNP, gross national product. So GNP, you can write there, gross national product. It is a money value of, right there, it is a money value of final goods and services. It is a money value of final goods and services produced by normal residents. In bracket you can write nationals. Normal residents means nationals, because normal residents means majority the Indians. If we talk about India's GNP, Indians. So normal residents, in bracket you can write nationals, of a country during a financial year. normal residents of a country during a financial year. So it is a money value of all final goods and services produced by normal residents of a country in a financial year. So if you see what is the only change here, it is again final goods and services. So there is no need to explain that part. Then it is again financial year, one financial year. So that also is not required to explain. Only changes, earlier it was domestic territory. Now here it is normal resident. And you have written in the bracket already nationals. So it is almost clear we are talking about Indians. Normal residents means when we are talking about India's GNP, we are talking about Indians. And the technical or economic term, the definition of normal resident is actually people who have long-term economic interest in the country. That's what the technical definition of normal resident. So if people who have long-term economic interest in the country means even a foreigner can also be a normal resident if he is having long-term economic interest. But what is this economic interest, etc., is again a subjective question. But for your understanding, you now take it as nationals. So basically, we talk about citizens. Okay, the Indian nationals is what actually come here. So normal residents means nationals. We talk about India's GNP, Indian nationals. Okay. Now, for explaining this, I'll take three different types of incomes. I'll explain the difference between GDP and GNP. So let's take A as an income, B is a different income, C is also an income. So you write down A is the income of Indians from India. So let's suppose A is the income earned by Indians from India, like we all are doing, right? We all are Indians and we are earning from India. So A is the income earned by Indians from India. Like this, if you talk about India, there will be foreigners also, right? Here, non-residents will be there and residents will be there. Normal residents will be there as per the definition. So this is basically Indians. These are basically foreigners. So here I'm talking about this Indians earning from India. So A is the income earned by Indians from India. Now B is the income earned by Indians from abroad. Some Indians who's working abroad, like in US, UK, etc. That is also an income. So that income. So Indians from abroad. That is B. Now C is the income earned by foreigners from India. This group. Okay, some foreigners are here. That income, like some companies, Samsung, etc., when they are establishing a plant here, the income that they are earning from India. Okay, so that is income earned by foreigners from India. So foreigners from India. So for explaining GNP, I'm taking these three different incomes. So A is the income earned by Indians from India, like all of us. B is the income earned by Indians from abroad. You are going and working abroad and you are bringing money. C is the income earned by foreigners who is working in India. Okay. Now, what do you think will be GDP here? When we talk about GDP, what will come here? Among A, B, C, what all things will come?
A plus C.
A plus C, right? GDP is actually a territorial concept. So basically whatever is produced in India. So here, Indians earning from India, foreigners earning from India. So these two will come here. It is a domestic concept. It is a territorial concept. So whatever is produced in that territory, who is producing doesn't matter here. It doesn't matter who is producing. It could be a foreign company from India. It doesn't matter, but it is produced in India. So in GDP, what will come is this A plus C. What about GNP?
A plus B.
In case of GNP, it is A plus B. What matters here in GNP, who is producing it matters. Where is producing it doesn't matter. It could be in India, it could be abroad, anywhere it is fine. But who's producing? Is it Indians? Then it will be part of Indian GNP. So in GNP, A plus B will come. Okay, so this is actually what you mean by GDP and GNP. Okay, now let's suppose you have GDP. Okay, how can you get GNP from this? GDP means what? GDP means A plus C, right? You have A plus C, that is GDP. Now, how can you get GNP now from this GDP? What do you need to do here?
GDP minus C plus B.
Yeah, GDP P minus, what you need to do is you need to remove the C. Why you need to remove the C? Because in case of GNP, we won't take foreigners. So you need to remove the C from GDP. Okay, so you remove that C from GDP, and what you need to add? You need to add this B. Why? Because we are talking about Indians. So this part we need to add. So GDP is there, and what you need to do is actually you need to remove the C and you need to add B. So can I write like this? B minus C. Can I write this? A plus C plus B minus C. Because we are removing B, we are removing C, and we are adding B. So ultimately, what happened? GNP is actually A plus B. We got that. That is what this A plus B. I just want to prove it mathematically. That's it. Otherwise, you can understand from here also. But once you know GDP, what you can do is you can simply remove. Once you have GDP, you can simply remove that portion of foreigners from here, that is C, and you can add this. You need to remove, and you can add Indian portions from abroad. So you can get that. So B minus C. This B minus C is what you need to add with GDP. So is this portion clear? Anyone have any doubt? I can repeat it again. What you did is GDP is this and this, A plus C. But in case of GNP, this is not desirable. So you remove this. And this is required. So you add this. That's what I mean by B minus C. That you add along with GDP. Okay. Now, what is this B minus C? B minus C is what you call as net factor income from abroad. So ultimately, what you're doing is whatever Indians earning from abroad, you are adding, and whatever foreigners earning from India, you are removing. So that's what exactly you're doing. I hope you understood. Whatever Indians earning from abroad, you're adding. That's what this B earning from abroad. That's what this B, you're adding that. And whatever foreigners earning from India, that you're removing. Okay. And this is what you call as net factor income from abroad. So in the textbooks, you will see like that. If you see the textbooks, what you will be written? GNP equal to GDP plus net factor income from abroad. So I hope you understood how this came now. Because GDP is what are, you see that A plus C. So this is your GDP. Okay. From GDP, what we need to remove? We need to remove whatever Indians earning from abroad, and whatever, or we need to add whatever Indians earning from abroad, and we need to remove whatever foreigners earning from India. So from GDP, that was A plus C, we need to do this, B minus C. What is this B minus C? B minus C is what your net factor income from abroad. What is this A plus C? A plus C is what your GDP. So basically GNP is GDP plus net factor income from abroad. Is this clear? Any doubt here? This NFIA? Now, why you call it as factor income, net factor income from abroad, right? Why it is factor income? See, income, there are two types of income. Okay, so or not income, when we talk about inputs, not so when we talk about income, so first you understand this, there are two types of inputs. I'm basically deviating from here, basically to explain this factor income. Okay, why we are saying factor income. So there are two types of inputs. One is factor inputs, and there are non-factor inputs. Okay, so non-factor inputs, factor inputs means these four: land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Okay, so these are the four factor inputs, and only using these only from these factor inputs you can generate income. So factor inputs will generate income. What are the income? From land, you will get rent. From labor, you will get wages or salary. Capital, it is interest. Interest is the return. Entrepreneurship, profit. So these are the four ways, and these are the only four ways in which you can generate income, either through rent or wages or interest or profit. These are only four ways you can get income. Either wages or salary, or you should get rent, or you should get interest, or you should get profit. These are the only four ways. And there can be combination also. For example, if I have a building, if I have a land or if I have a building, I can rent it out. So I can get rent. But instead of doing that, I myself was taking, that means, and I am running a business means, I can I can get the profit also. So this rent and profit both will be together. Okay. So the combination is also possible, but these are the 4 ways to generate income. So these are factor inputs. Non-factor inputs means these are inputs. These are raw materials. These are raw materials. So what will be added to GDP? Only this. This is what actually used for value addition. Only value addition will be added to GDP. Like value addition will happen because of these land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Okay, so this is how you generate income, and this income is generated from where? Factor inputs. That's why we are writing factor income here. Okay, so I hope you understood what is net factor income from abroad. Net factor income from abroad means why we are using net, because we are taking the difference between Indians earning from abroad and foreigners earning from India. That difference is what we're taking. That's why net factor income from abroad. And so what do you think, GNP or GDP, which should be greater? GNP equal to GDP plus NFIA, right? So what should be greater, GDP or GNP?
GDP.
You see, GDP plus something. So what should be greater?
Sir, in India's GDP, I guess, or in Japan, it's
I'm not talking about India.
No,
I'm
no,
talking technically.
if the
GNP.
income from it, if the income of Indians,
GNP should be greater, right? GDP plus something. But in India's case, GDP is greater than GNP. Okay. See, what is desirable? GNP should be greater than GDP, right? Because GNP means whatever Indians are producing, whatever income earned by Indians. So here, if you see this expression, GNP is greater. But in India's case, GDP is greater. What do you think will be the reason?
The remittance from India come from
What is greater than
foreign
export?
is greater than.
B minus C equal to negative. That's why.
Yeah. See, actually, in case of India, that B minus C part, this is actually negative. Why it is negative? Because the foreigners earning from India is much more than the Indians earning from abroad. So that B minus C part is negative. So basically, this net factor income from abroad is negative. Foreigners earning more from India than Indians earning more from abroad. So this part is negative. Since this part is negative, it will be automatically becomes GDP minus. So that is why GDP is greater in India than GNP. So it is specific to Indian context. In India, GDP is greater than GNP. The reason is this: NFI is negative. Theoretically speaking, GNP should be greater. And what is desirable? GNP should be greater. That is desirable. But in India's case, GDP is greater. So I hope you understood this. Okay. Now, can we move on to the 4 concepts? With that, we can explain 16 concepts. I hope this much is clear. What is
Sir,
the basic concept of GDP, GNP, etc.?
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes.
Like, if the GDP is greater than GNP, is it desirable? Like, what is the most desirable? If GNP is greater or
See, GNP should be great. GNP greater means what? Indians earning from Indians' income is more, right? GNP is actually the income of Indians, whatever Indians earn. GDP is whatever is earned in India. It doesn't matter whatever is earned in India. Whatever Indians earned is what more important. So GNP is more important. And when we talk about national income, also we will talk about NNP. That means net national product. That is connected to GNP. Whatever earned by Indians is more important. So GNP should be more. That is desirable. GDP more is not. It is not that I'm not saying it is not desirable, but see here, GNP is less means what is actually happening. NFI is negative. So all those income which is earned by foreigners in India, they will be taking it and they will be going now. It is going out only. But when we talk, it is actually earned in India, but it is anyway going. There is an outflow. So GNP greater is always better.
so then why we compare economies in terms of GDP?
That is as per convention. We are doing this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so now we will discuss, you can give a heading, concepts of national income. Concepts of national income and related aggregates. Now, GDP is actually considered for growth. GNP is considered for national income. When we measure national income, GNP, in fact, not GNP correctly, it is NNP. There will be some modification in GNP, that is NNP. I'm discussing that. For growth, it is GDP is considered. Okay. So concepts of national income and related aggregates. So here I'll be talking about what is gross, what is net, what is factor cost, what is market price, what is current prices, what is constant prices, okay, what is national, what is domestic. All these concepts will be discussed, and related to this there are around 16 concepts, so you will be in a position to write all the 16 concepts with the permutation combination of these 4 concepts. So we'll start with the first one. First one is gross versus net. Gross versus net. Okay, so gross versus net. Net is actually equal to gross minus depreciation. Okay, you can just write this. I'll explain this point. Net is equal to gross minus depreciation. Okay, for example, there is a production. Let's suppose there is a company. The company had a production of 100 crore. So total income generated or total production is 100 crore. Okay, so what will be added to GDP? When we talk about GDP, what will be added here? The entire production will be added, right? So GDP will be 100 crore here. Okay, but let's suppose in this production, there is, let's say, 20% depreciation. Depreciation means to undertake production, you need machineries and everything. So 20 crore depreciation will be there here. Okay, so do you think is it adding 100 crore is actually a correct understanding? 20 crore depreciation, where is it going? That has to be reduced, right? That has to be you have to subtract it, right? So what we will do is, that is what we mean by net domestic product. Depreciation can be of any kind. The machinery, let's suppose you are buying a car now at 5 lakh. Do you think you will get it 5 lakh after 1 year? You are buying a taxi, you are using a taxi, and you might have earned, let's say, 2 lakh by running this taxi. Can you effectively say you earned 2 lakh? No, because when you're selling this car again next year, you may get 4 lakh only. Okay, so you will get 4 lakh only. So when I'm saying GDP, whatever is earned is GDP. So this 2 lakh will be added, but that is not actually correct. You need to avoid that depreciation also. That's why NDP will be 1 lakh by taking into consideration this depreciation also. So here, what is NDP in this context, which I've told you, that is 80 crore. So which one will give you a correct picture? NDP will give you, net will give you a correct picture. See, gross salary and net salary, or after deducting all those things, you will get your net salary, no? Exactly the same here. There will be a depreciation and then you will get net. So when we talk about national income, I'll talk about this concept net. Net national product is what we are taking there. So I hope you understood this point. NDP is actually, so if you have GDP, so this is net is gross minus depreciation. So if you have GDP, how will you get NDP? GDP minus depreciation, you will get NDP. You can write this there. GDP minus depreciation is your NDP. Okay. You can say depreciation. In some books, you will see CFC. CFC means consumption of fixed capital. CFC. Instead of depreciation, some books will write consumption of fixed capital. Fixed capital means that machinery or car which I have told you. Consumption of fixed capital, in some books you will see that is nothing but depreciation. Now, calculation of depreciation, there is no fixed method, and that's why when we are comparing and everything, you cannot see it by using NDP. For comparison of everything, then everything we will actually use gross. Gross calculation is easy. Calculation of depreciation is very difficult. It is subjective, and different methods are used in different countries. So for comparison and everything, we use only gross. Net calculation, there is a problem. So practically, net is actually a problem. Okay. So mostly we will use gross domestic product only, not NDP, because of this calculation problem. But what is desirable? What is desirable for understanding the concept is basically NDP. NDP is most desirable because you will get the depreciation also. But I may say 1 lakh is the depreciation for car, you may say 2 lakh is the depreciation of car. So there is no fixed criteria for understanding this depreciation. So that is why NDP is least used. Okay, GDP is mostly used. So that is clear. So CFC is the consumption of fixed capital. You can write what is CFC, one line you can write there. It refers to reduction in value of capital goods. CFC refers to, or CFC means consumption of fixed capital. It refers to reduction in the value of capital goods. In bracket, you can, due to wear and tear, technological obsolescence, etc. Means technology is changing. Okay. Anything can be part of depreciation. So the first concept is done. Net domestic product is GDP minus depreciation. So don't write it as, you can write this as example. Consumption of fixed capital. CFC full form, consumption of fixed capital. This NDP equal to GDP minus depreciation, you write it as example. Basically the concept is net is equal to gross minus depreciation. You write this one. This is more important, okay? Because instead of NDP later you will see NNP. What will be NNP? NNP will be GNP minus depreciation. Okay, so these are examples of net. NNP is GNP minus depreciation. NDP is GDP minus depreciation. So better to understand this one. Net equal to gross minus. If you have gross depreciated, you will get net. Okay. Second one we have already discussed, but here anyway we are discussing the four concepts, so I'm telling it again. Domestic versus national. Domestic versus national. So very important concept. We have already discussed when we discussed about gross domestic product and gross national product. Exactly the same. So you can write there directly. National equal to, this is what you need to know. National equal to domestic plus NFIA, net factor income from abroad. National equal to domestic plus NFIA. You know what is this NFIA? We have discussed that already. So if you know domestic, add what? The net factor income from abroad. Then you will get national. Okay. So for example, as example, you can write here GNP equal to GDP plus NFIA. This we have already discussed. GDP plus NFIA, you'll get GNP. Similarly, if you know NDP plus NFIA, what you will get? You will get NNP. Okay. Now, so I hope this is clear. Now see, let me ask you one thing. I want to see who can answer this. Basically, we will get GDP, right? We basically get GDP. And I've told you already, national income is related to net national product. That means national income is actually NNP. This, anyway, I'm coming to this. I'll discuss this in detail. But now, since I've just told you that NNP is your national income, suppose you know GDP. How can you calculate NNP? Can anyone tell this? From GDP, how can you reach NNP?
So we can deduct the depreciation, then we can add the NFIA.
So first you will deduct depreciation. First you will deduct depreciation, right? GDP minus depreciation, that is the first step. So when you do this, what you will get? You will get NDP. So once you get NDP, what you will do? You will add this NFIA, right? NDP plus NFIA, what you will get? NNP. So two steps are supposed to be done. So if you need to, now you can understand like this, if you need to change the first letter, G to N, first letter change, what you will do? Gross to net, you go for depreciation. If you need to change the second letter, D to N, what you will do? You will add NFI. Is this clear? Any doubt here? Okay, so we will move to the third concept, that is factor cost versus market price. Factor cost versus market price. So this name itself will tell you, right? This is a cost incurred in the factors. That is what factor cost. So this is actually the production cost. Market price involves something more than that. What do you mean by actual production cost? What do you mean by factor inputs? The land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. That means the rent, interest, the wages, and the profit. So all these things are actually included in factor cost. Then what is market price? See, some of you have confusion that when we talk about factor cost and market price, you might be studying in quantitative aptitude cost price and market price, right? What is that market price? That market price equal to cost price plus profit. But here that is not the market price. Here you see in the factors also already profit is taken. So in the factor cost, profit is included. So when we talk about in economy, in factor cost, the profit is actually included because profit is also an income which is generated through factor inputs from entrepreneurship, right? So in factor cost, profit is there. So the question is not about profit. Then the question is about the taxes. Okay. So basically market price equal to factor cost plus taxes. So this is what you need to know. Now, don't make it in box here. Some more addition we need to make here. So see, this is taxes. So that is what market price. Now, when the government is imposing taxes, these are obviously indirect taxes. So when the government is imposing taxes, what will happen? Some items, the price will go so high, right? If those are essential items, that may not be affordable for poor people. So what the government will do? Government will do this. Government will give subsidies, right? So then it will become factor cost plus taxes minus subsidies. But the subsidies will not be given for everything. Only for few products it will be given. So it is better to understand that market price equal to factor cost plus net indirect taxes. So this is indirect tax. Why indirect tax? It is imposed on commodities, right? We are talking about goods and services. Okay, and direct taxes are imposed on income, wealth, etc. So here we are talking about indirect tax. That's why indirect tax. Why net indirect tax? We are taking the difference between taxes and subsidies. So net indirect tax. Now, in case of subsidy is 0, you just put 0 here. Then it will be only indirect tax. If subsidy is given, you take the difference. Okay, so it is not necessary that subsidy need to be included. It can be sometimes FC plus indirect tax only, but we are writing NIT. In case of subsidy is given, that need to be subtracted. So the price will come down. Now, to whom subsidy is given? Subsidies are actually given to firms, not directly to consumer. But consumer will ultimately get the advantage of subsidy. Just like indirect tax. Indirect tax is imposed on whom? It is imposed on the firm only, but they collect it from the consumer, no? Exactly in the same way, subsidies are supposed to be given to the individuals or the consumer, but it is given to firms in the consideration that the consumer will benefit out of it. So just like taxes are imposed on firms and consumers will bear the burden of the taxes, the subsidies are given to firms and the consumers will benefit out of it. Is this clear? What is the difference between factor cost and market price? So factor cost, market price, the difference is basically, this taxes, net indirect taxes. So let's suppose, GDP at factor cost. Okay. So how can you get GDP at market price? What I will do? Plus net indirect tax. That's it. Okay. If NDP market price I need to know, what I will do? I will do NDP factor cost plus net indirect tax. I just need to add the tax. Okay. Now, what is the national income? I've told you already that is net national product. So it is net national product at factor cost. This is the national income. I'll come to this point and I'll explain why is it and how is it coming and how is it calculated. Everything I'll explain. I'll explain in a mathematical way so that everything will be printed in your mind. So just now you understand NNP at factor cost is the national income, or even if you don't understand it is national income, I want to get NNP at factor cost from what you get from market. From market, you get GDP at market price because everything is billed at the market price. Taxes are included. So when you're adding everything, formally what you get is actually GDP market price. And from GDP market price, how can I get this? How can I reach here? Can anyone tell me? What I need to do is I need to change the first letter. You know what to do for that? G to N depreciation. Then I need to change the second letter, D to N. What I need to do? NFIA. Then I need to change this market price to factor cost. What I need to do? Net indirect tax. So in 3 steps, I can basically convert this. Do you want me to show that here? If first of all, GDP MP, let me convert the first letter, minus depreciation. What I get? One second. What I get? I'll get, I forgot what we are talking about. Yeah, first letter change, right? So this will become NDP market price. So first letter has changed, right? G became N. Now I need to change the second letter for that NFIA. So from here, what I will do, I will add NFIA, or I'll write it separately. So NDP MP plus NFIA, what I will get, I can change the second letter. So I will get NNP market price. Now I need to change this market price. So from NNP market price, I will do what? I will add net indirect tax. Then I will get NNP factor cost. And that is your national income. Okay, national income is again at current prices and constant price. I'll discuss that again later. So as of now, I hope you understood this calculation. You understood the 3 concepts. Any doubt here? Gross versus net, domestic versus national, factor cost versus market price.
So this NNP MP minus NIT or
NNP?
NP minus NIT equal to NNP FC?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. This is minus because this is NNP plus NNP FC plus NIT. No, you get an NNP MP. So NNP MP minus NIT. You need to remove that. Sorry. That's a mistake. Minus NIT will get NNP FC. Clear? Is this clear? Why indirect tax? Because direct tax is imposed on income, wealth, etc. Indirect tax is imposed on commodities, products. Okay, or it is also known as commodity tax or product tax. Those things we'll do in detail in the module on taxation. Now, what do you think? Which one is better? Market price or factor cost is better in understanding the actual production?
Factor cost.
Which one is better?
Factor cost.
Why? Do you know what we are using now? We are using GDP at market price we are using. Then how can you say factor cost is better? Why we are not using factor cost then?
Because in market price, if we increase the taxes, then the GDP will increase. However, that doesn't mean that GDP FC will increase. It means the production monetary value of the goods.
Exactly. But then why government is doing this? Why government is using market price? You know, market price, government started using market price from 2015 onwards.
Yeah.
Once BJP government came to power, they started using MP by saying that there's international best practice, the data are available easily, calculation is easy and all these things. And for comparison purpose also it will be easy. So that is the logic. But I'll show you here why factor cost is, it is factor cost which is better. I'll show you here with example. Let's suppose you take 2 years, let's say 2017 and 2018. Okay, so let's talk about production here. Okay, then factor cost, then tax, then market price. I'll take GDP here. I'll take GDP. Here I'll take market price. Here I'll take factor cost. So let's see what is going to happen here. Now imagine that the production is 100 in both here. Let's suppose the production of this pen itself. Okay, I'm producing the pen itself. So production is 100, production is 100. So production is same. No production is changed. Now factor cost, that means the actual cost of production, which involves the cost of wages, which involves the cost of rent, interest and the profit, everything included. That is 9 rupee. Okay, now tax in 2017 was 1 rupee. Here it is 2 rupee. Now market price will be this factor cost plus tax, this will be 10 here and it will be 11 here. So this much is okay for all of you, no? Now we will calculate GDP at market price. When we calculate GDP at market price, production into this price. So how much you will get? You will get 1000. 2018, what you will get? 1100, right? But if you calculate GDP at factor cost, this 100 into 9, that is 900. 100 into 9, that is 900. Now you see here GDP at market price and GDP at factor cost. Is there any change in GDP at factor cost? 900 remain 900. No change, right? Why there is no change? Because actually there is no change in production. There is no value addition extra happened. It is the same. Whatever was there in 2017, exactly the same as here. That's why GDP is not changed if we calculate at factor cost. But if we calculate at market price, can you see a 10% change here? Can you see a 10% change here in GDP? Is there any 10% change in production? No. Then how this GDP changed? You can say that GDP actually increased by 10% by doing what? By increasing the taxes. So the market price will increase. So when you calculate GDP at market price, it will be high. So which one is better? Better is obviously GDP at factor cost because that shows the real production. How much exactly is the production? GDP factor cost will tell you. But GDP market price can be changed by just changing the taxes. If government want to highlight more production is there, what the government can do? Government can increase the tax and you can say the GDP is increased. But what is the argument for the supporting argument? Supporting argument is most of the countries are doing this. Calculation purpose, it is very easy. Okay, and comparison purpose, it will be easy. So these are the supporting arguments in this. There are a lot of criticisms. That criticism we'll discuss later towards the end. And this question was actually asked in mains also. So if you can explain that with this table, it will be so good. So is this okay? You understood or any doubt here? I don't think that there is any need to have any doubt here. Okay, so can we move forward?
Yes,
Am
sir.
I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so next is fourth one, current prices. Current prices versus constant prices. You write it completely. Current versus constant prices. Okay, so what is the difference between these two?
Constant price is for base year. Current price is for prices in the same year.
Yeah, constant prices for related to a base year price. So you might have read that GDP is measured at constant price, like the base year is 2011, etc. The base year for measurement of GDP is 2011-12. That means when we are calculating GDP, we will take the price of those goods in this particular year, 2011-12. That is a base year price. Now, what is the difference between constant price and current price? It is an inflation. If you take current prices, what will come is the inflated values will come. Okay, for example, this pen cost 100 rupee in 2011-12. We will take 100 rupee only. This year, it may, now 2020, it may cost around 150, 160, etc. Why? Because of inflation. Over a period of time, the price is consistently increased and around 50-60% increases there in the price. So to get a better understanding, I'll show you in a table again why this is better. To get a better understanding, you will go for a constant price. That means a base year price. And for base year, to get that for the constant price, you need a base year and a base value also required. Okay. So can I say this constant price equal to current minus inflation, or current equal to constant plus inflation? Can I say this? I cannot say this actually. For the purpose of understanding, you can understand in this way. Current means constant price plus there is an inflation over a period of time. Only for understanding. Theoretically, we cannot do this. Okay, because the measurement of inflation is in a different way. You can't just add like this the way you added tax and NFIA, depreciation, etc. So there is a different formula for doing this. Okay, I'll give you that formula and I'll explain that formula and I'll show you practical example also. So let me first tell you which one is better, current or constant. Which one is better? I'll tell you here. Let's take 3 years. You can make a table along with me. Let's take 3 years. Let's say 2017, 18, 18, 19, and 19, 20. So I'm taking 3 years. So production. Okay. Then current price, base year price. Okay. Then GDP at factor cost. Okay. GDP at factor cost means it is related to base year price. What is a base year? Base year is actually 2011-12. How this is fixed, what are the criteria for fixing base year, etc. can be a prelims question. I'll discuss that soon. So GDP at factor cost, and we will also see GDP at market price. Okay, so 2017-18, let's take some values. Let's say this is 100 production. Here also 100, no increase in production. Here increase in production, 150. And current price, let's say it was 10 rupee in 2017-18. There is some inflation. The price is increased in 2018-19, let's say 15. And again, it remained the same, no increase then, it is 15. So these are some assumptions, okay? Base year price. See, base year price will be like, the base year price, let's say this, let's take it as 10 rupee. Okay. See, suppose this is a base year, or what I can do is I'll make some changes here. I'm taking this as 2011-12, and this is 12-13, and this is 13-14. Okay. See how the base year price is decided. If suppose I'm selecting base year as 2011-12, now I have told you base year is 2011-12. The current price of that year, let's suppose that is 10 rupee, that will serve as the base year price. That will serve as the base year price. Okay. So current price of base year will serve as the base year price. So when we talk about base year price, it will be 10 again, it will be 10 again. It won't change. Only if I change the base year, it will change. This is clear? How the base year price is fixed? It is actually what if base year is 2011-12, what was the price in 2011-12? That will be the base year price. And every year we will calculate on the basis of that. So here you can see current price in base year, that was 10. So that we have written as the base year price, and every year the 10 will serve as the base year price. So current price of base year will serve as the base year price for the coming years also. Okay, so now we will calculate GDP at factor cost. So this, what you can do, you can, factor cost means this base year price. Market price means current price. So you can, sorry, this is not factor cost. This is not market price, sorry. GDP at current price. By mistake, I've written, before we have written factor cost and market price. So sorry, this is GDP at current. Current means this two. And here I need to write constant. So this two. This from here. Okay. So I'll multiply production into current, production into base year price. Okay. So first here, if I need to get the current price, what I'll do? 100 into 10. So I can write 1000 here. So here 2012-13, 1500. 13-14, 15 square, that is 225. So 2250. Now we can write constant price now. So 100 into 10, that is 1000. 100 into 10, 1000. And 150 into 10, that is 1500. Okay. So is there any doubt in the table which we have discussed? Okay. No. Now the analysis part. If you see here, GDP at constant, Can you see any change here? You cannot see any change here, 1000 to 1000. Why? Because actually there is no change in production. So there is no change in production. So GDP at constant price has not changed. But you see GDP at current price, it is changed. Why this change is there? This change is because of inflation. So if you take GDP at market price, the GDP can change because of inflation. If you take GDP at constant price, that will change only if there is a change in production. Okay, so this GDP change, you can see around 50% changes there. Why? Because 50% inflation, as prices change 50%. So is that possible? No. Okay, that's why we are taking this one, constant. Now again, if you see here, there is a change, right? 1000 to 1500, there is a change. Around 50% change is there. Why this 50% change? You can see here directly 50% change in production. So GDP at constant price will change only if there is an actual change. And how much production changed? Exactly the same change you will get at GDP at constant price. So 50% increase in production, so 50% change you will get here. Now see here there is an increase because there is an increase. Okay. So what I want to conclude here is GDP at current prices will change either because of inflation that you have seen in the first case or because of actual change in production that you have seen in the second case. No inflation in the second case, but production change, so there is a change. So GDP at current price will change either because of inflation or because of actual change in production. Whereas GDP at constant price will change only if there is a change in production. So which one we will take for analysis? We will take GDP at constant price. You understood? Because we don't want to take into consideration the inflation. So GDP at constant price is what is taken for the measurement of GDP, not the current price, because that captures inflation also. Okay. Any doubt here? Okay. But which one you will get from the market? GDP at current price or constant price? What you will get?
It's a constant price.
No. Constant price is based on 2011-12. So are you selling things at the price of this 2011-12? You will get everything in the current price. So when the government collect data and everything, you will get at the current price. If you're taking all the bills and everything, it is at the current price. So what we need to do, we need to convert. Okay. So let's suppose this is a price that you're getting. Let me draw a table here. Okay. So current price you will get. So from current price, you need to get the constant price. Okay. So basically current you will get and you need to subtract inflation. So basically you cannot do this practically. For your understanding, I'm saying this is what you need to do. And for this, there is a formula. There is a formula. The formula is you can get GDP at constant prices. Okay. If you have GDP at current prices, but how you get it? From GDP current prices divided by GDP deflator into 100. This is what you need to do to get GDP at constant price. What is GDP deflator? This is actually an index number. I will discuss about this in detail when we discuss about inflation. Also, we will discuss about WPI, CPI, all these index numbers. All these are actually index numbers. Okay, so how will you write this actually? GDP deflator colon. Let's say you will write the base year 2011-12 equal to 100. So basically you will start from 100. Okay, so 100 is the base value and 2011-12 was the base year. From there you keep on adding inflation, and today in 2020, if I'm saying this value is increased to, let's say, 160, what does that mean? There is 60% inflation is there. So GDP deflator is actually used to measure inflation. Similarly, WPI also, when we will discuss all these, WPI also will write this. WPI also base year is 2011-12. So 2011-12 equal to 100. So you will start from this. And now if I'm saying 187 is the value. Now current value of WPI is 187 means what? I'm saying items which cost 100 rupee in 2011-12. Now if you need to buy 187, you need to pay. Or by paying 100 rupee, what all things you bought in 2011-12, if you need to buy those many items, you need to pay 187. Simple meaning is that 87% inflation is there. Okay, so this is the base year, this is a base value. Because you need a reference year and you need a reference value, right? That's the, see, if I'm saying this pen, the pen cost 25 rupee. Can you say, why fixed base year 2011-12? I'll tell you. Because there are some criteria. 2011, before it was 2004-5. Now it is 2011-12. Okay, so I'll tell you the reason why and what are the criteria. That is there in a syllabus which I have given to you. So if I'm saying this pen cost 25 rupee, can you tell the price increased or decreased? You can't say. What I need to tell, or if I'm saying this pen cost 25 rupee now, before it cost 10 rupee, can you tell now? You cannot tell. What you can tell is that the price is increased. Before means it could be 1 year back or 2 year back or 5 year back. So what I need to tell you clearly is to understanding, I need to tell this base year and the base value. I need to tell before which year and what value. That's what you mean by this base year and base value. Now you can understand. So basically to get GDP constant price, that is what we need. And this GDP constant is what we call as real GDP. GDP current is what you call as nominal GDP. Okay, so you will get nominal GDP, that is GDP at current. So this you get from the market. What you need to do, divided by GDP deflator into 100. Okay, so again in the same table, I'm expecting that you have drawn the table. I'll take that current price now. So I'll take that last two columns. Okay, so let's say GDP constant, and okay, we need GDP current, right? We get GDP current. GDP current is what you get from the market. What were the values I've told you? Can you tell me what are the values?
So 1000, 1500 and 2250.
1000, 1500 and 2250, right?
Yes.
Now, this is what you get from the market. From here, I need to get GDP constant. Okay, so those values which I have given you in GDP constant, I'll get it by using a formula. Can you tell me that values which I've got in constant?
So 1000, 1000 and 1500.
1000, 1000, 1500. Now, as of now, you imagine that you don't know this. What I need to do is, from this current, I need to get constant and it will be this. Okay, what I'm going to do this, I have current, I use a formula. Okay, GDP constant, what is the formula? GDP constant is GDP current by GDP deflator into 100, right? So this is what I need to use. Okay, now GDP deflator, I need a column for GDP deflator also. So, okay, so I'll make a column somewhere here. GDP deflator, I'll make a column here. GDP deflator. So I've told you in 2011-12, it will be at 100, right? This is a base price. Any doubt why I'm writing 100 here? Because GDP deflator, base year and reference value will be 100, starting from 100, right? So no need to have any doubt. So can you tell me that price which I've given you, that market price? Can you tell me that column again? Market prices or the current prices, not market price, current price.
10,
inflation.
15, 15. 10, 15 and 15.
10, 15, 15.
Yeah.
Okay. So starting from 100, what will be this value next year? You can see the current price. There is a change of how much? 50%. So can I write it as 150? Yes, 150 is the change. 150 will be the next year. And is there any change here from 15 to 15? No change. So this will again be 150. Is this okay, GDP deflator? Only thing is you may be confused why this is 100. 100, no need to have any confusion. GDP deflator, this is how it is. GDP deflator, colon, base year 2011-12 equal to 100. This is how it starts. And we are talking about 11-12. This is the 11-12 price. So reference value will be 100 only. Then 50% increase. So we have changed 50%. Then no increase, then no change. Is this okay? Now can we proceed this calculation now? 1000. What you will do? 1000 divided by GDP. This is the current. This is what you have, right? 1000 divided by 100 into 100. So this is getting cancelled out, and what you'll get? You will get 1000. Is it same here? So we got it. This is how we get it. You understood what I mean to say? Again, if you take this 1500 by 150 into 100, right? So this 150 will get cancelled out. 100 into 10, that is 1000. So again, we got this. We got the constant price from current prices, right? Again, if you see this 2250 divided by 150 into 100. So 225 and 15 will get cancelled out. So this is going to be 15. 15 into 100, that is 1500. So we got this 1500 and this is 1500. So from the current price, by using GDP deflator, you can get constant price. So this is how you will get GDP constant price. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you one thing now. What you get from the market is GDP at market price. I need to get NNP at factor cost. Okay, this we have discussed. GDP market price at current prices. With inflation only you will get from the market. I need to get NNP factor cost at constant prices. What all things I will do here? So obviously what you need to know, first letter need to change G to N. What you will do? Gross to net depreciation. Second letter I need to change D to N. What I will do? What I will do here?
So
NFIA, right? Domestic to national NFIA. Then I need to change what? Market price to factor cost. What I'll do here?
minus NIT.
Net indirect tax. Then what I need to do? Current to constant. What I will do here?
By deflator.
Deflator.
GDP deflator. So can I convert this in 4 steps? So that's what I want to tell you. Any concept that you're getting, anything that you're getting, by knowing GDP market price and these concepts, you can convert it. Okay. So if you want, I can show you here. First one, GDP market price. So GDP market price current. I will convert this first to NDP, right? So how can I do that? Plus or not plus, what I do? Minus depreciation. I'll change the first letter. So what I'll get? I'll get NDP market price, and this remains same, current. So first letter is changed now. Then this NDP, what I will do? So NDP market price current. Now I'll convert the second letter by adding NFIA. So what I'll get? NNP, market price remain the same, current remain the same. Now I'll convert market price, right? So NNP market price current. What I will do? Minus net indirect tax. What I'll get? NNP factor cost current. Finally, I will convert this current to what? Constant. So NNP factor cost current divided by GDP. Unlike these three, here addition and subtraction only, here division. GDP deflator into 100, you get the NNP factor cost constant. So this is your national income actually. Is this clear? Any doubts here? Now, the 16 concepts I have told you. The 16 concepts I have told you. First concept you can write here. With respect to GDP, I'll tell you 4 concepts. Okay. So GDP, you have GDP factor cost constant, GDP factor cost current. Okay. So, or for example, how will you read this? GDP okay, so how will you read this? GDP market price current. What is India's GDP? 200 lakh crore. How will you read this? You will read from here the current market value of goods and services produced in the domestic territory of India is 200 lakh crore. Okay, so this is how you read this. Now, so this is one concept. So I got this GDP, MP, current. What is second one? GDP, MP. What I will do, I'll change current to constant. Any doubt in these two concepts? We have discussed everything. You know what is GDP, you know what is market price, you know what is current, what is constant. Okay. Now what you need to do is change MP to FC. GDP, FC and current, GDP, FC, constant. So I got 4 concepts with GDP. Is this fine? GDP MP current, GDP MP constant, GDP FC current, GDP FC constant. All are different. Similarly, GNP. GNP MP current, GNP MP constant, GNP FC. Now I'm changing this MP to FC, current, GNP FC, constant. So I got another 4 concepts with respect to GNP. So I got 8 concepts now. Exactly in the same way, I'll go for NDP and NNP also. I don't think that I need to write it completely here. So did I got 16 concepts? So what I'll do with NDP? NDP MP current, NDP MP constant. Then MP I'll change NDP FC current, NDP FC constant. You can fill it. Similarly, NNP also, NNP MP current, NNP MP constant, NNP FC current, NNP FC constant. So this is a very dry session, but I'm expecting that you will be understanding everything related to the concepts of national income. Okay. So do you have any doubt with this? I'm stopping. I'm not discussing any more concepts today. I'm stopping with this, and tomorrow I'll discuss about national income in detail. I'll tell you how this base year is fixed, what are the criteria for base year, how will you calculate national income, what all things are included in national income, what all things are excluded in national income, and what is the change in methodologies in calculating national income. Everything we'll discuss tomorrow, and one more session maybe day after tomorrow. So, are we done? Any doubts?
No, sir.
You understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any doubt, you can ask me now. Any one of you have any doubts, we can clear it now. Okay, then we will stop. We'll stop here.
Okay, sir.
Okay, see you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Bye, sir.
bye. So that's about the session. I hope you understood everything that we have discussed today. If you have any doubt in any of the videos that we have discussed so far, you can get in touch with me here. That's my Instagram ID. Okay, or you can join the Telegram channel. You will get all my videos over there. Everything is there. Or you can see here, this is a Telegram channel, or this is the Instagram ID. These two are my Facebook page. You can get in touch with me in any of this. If you want to learn economy with me or history with me or general studies, any subjects, you can, if you need regular classes, you can get in touch with me, or the online classes are available with StudyIQ. You will get all those classes. Still, you will get my YouTube videos in this Telegram channel. Okay. So I hope you understood everything that we have discussed. So see you guys. Thank you.